Chief Helton, myself, and the leadership team in Little Rock Police Department are here today to provide a briefing on this week's recent homicides. Before we get started, I just want to share my appreciation to the men and women of the Little Rock Police Department who've been working around the clock to solve these 4 unrelated homicides. Their detectives and officers have apprehended a majority of them, particularly throughout a lot of great detective work, and quite frankly, because of the Real-Time Crime Center. The Real-Time Crime Center has been very critical in solving these crimes, and we want to share our appreciation to Chief Helton and his entire leadership team and the men and women of the Little Rock Police Department. Secondly, what I want to make certain everyone understands is that we share and know the concerns that the community will be feeling, has been feeling right now. My heart goes out to the impacted victims and families of this week. But I want to be clear, it goes out every time there's a homicide in this city. No matter where the homicide occurs, whether it's in Southwest, the South End, the East End, West Little Rock, Hillcrest, or Heights, it impacts and affects me deeply as a mayor, as a faith leader, and as a resident of this city. I want to assure you that our city is under the best and capable hands with our chief of police and the men and women of Little Rock Police Department. The chief will share with you our capture rate. It leads in the national average. And what that basically means is if you do something here in the city of Little Rock, you will be caught. And then we've seen this already, that many of these homicides have been captured, the suspects have been captured within 24 to 48 hours. And that's commendable of what our police officers are doing day in and day out to keep our city and our residents safe. I also want to make certain we understand that we all are in this together. As we protect our city, we have to make certain the residents play a vital role in when they see something, that they say something, that they communicate with the officers, and this helps us prevent crime. Quite frankly, I'm pissed that these things have happened, not just this week, but last week. But I'm also grateful that our officers are keeping our city safe. And while we've seen these 4 homicides this week, we also understand that our crime is actually pretty down this year, as of this month, as being 19% down compared to the past 5 years. As you look at last year, we went and had a 43% reduction in homicides, close to 6% reduction in violent crime, and 5% reduction in overall crime. And if you mirror that, which is the telltale all, when you look at a safer city, we've seen that reduction in crime. But I can tell you statistics all day and every day. And we have to address the feeling of safety in our city. And it's my job to make certain that every resident, whether you're in Southwest Little Rock or West Little Rock, that you feel safe. And we're going to continue to do that. And that's the reason why we continue to graduate classes within the Little Rock Police Department. We just recently, last week, graduated 22 new recruits. I remember a time when our vacancy levels were at 120 people. We're now somewhere between 50 and 60, 62. And we will continue to work towards that and put every dollar forward with our $10,000 sign-on bonuses. If we need to increase that, we will, because public safety is our #1 priority. With that being said, we want to share our prayers with these families because they're hurting right now. These actions were senseless. They didn't make any sense whatsoever. But we want to assure them that not only have we captured these individuals, we'll continue to make certain this doesn't happen anymore in our city. And we will never lose our eye on making certain that this city is safe. Chief Helton.
I want to address an issue that affects every resident, business, and visitor in our city, and that's the recent uptick in violent gun crimes that have been occurring. The safety of our community is my top priority, and I want to be clear, we will not tolerate violence in our city. I want to acknowledge the families of the victims and let them know that our thoughts and prayers are with them during this tragic, senseless acts of violence that have occurred and plagued them. It is, I'm just as pissed off as the mayor is about these. I do take these very personal. When you get these phone calls, it keeps you up at night, and you try to go back and figure out what happened. Is it something we didn't do? What are we not doing? What occurred? And you ask yourself over and over again, why is this happening? So my heart goes out to them, and I pray for them every day. And the men and women, we pray, and just it's very tragic, and my heart does go out to the families. I want to briefly talk about our homicides that have occurred. The month of January has been a very unique month for us, especially after coming at the end of the year where we saw a significant decrease. I can tell you the homicides that have occurred, none of them, there's no correlation between any of them. Just an anomaly, if you want to call it that. We've had 8 homicides so far this year. We've had 1 suspicious death that we're trying to determine the circumstances behind that and where it actually occurred. And then obviously we've had 1 officer-involved shooting that we had a press conference earlier this year to discuss. Of the 8 homicides, 6 have been cleared by arrest. That's roughly a 75% clearance rate. The national average hovers right around 50 to 51%. And as of last night, 2 warrants have already been issued for the incidents that occurred on Labette Manor and the incident that occurred yesterday at 1812 Reservoir Road. I want to commend the outstanding work that our detectives have done from especially this week with the 4 homicides that have hit pretty much back to back to back. Our detectives literally spent over 36 hours at work. Some of them sleeping on the floor in their office, not going home. Our crime scene search personnel unit that responded, our victim services people, they put in a tremendous amount of work, and they would not stop until they got these cases solved. So I want to commend them and their actions, their time away from their families that they committed to making sure they got these cases solved. So it's extreme. I'm very, very proud of what they've done. Of the homicides that the 8 that we've had, 4 of those were acquaintances or domestic related incidents. 4 of them, there was no known relationship between the victim and the suspect, and they appear to be very isolated. When we break it down to the city, 4 of them occurred in the northwest area, 2 in the southwest corridor, and then 2 in the 12th Street corridor. We know behind every statistic, there's a victim, a family, and a community left shaken. Gun violence is not just a police issue, it is a community issue. So, a lot of the questions that get asked, what is the police doing to address these matters? So, I'm here to tell you what we're doing and what we're going to continue to do. 1, we're going to do targeted enforcement. Kind of what we've been doing, but we're going to amp that up. We're going to use our data to tell us where we need to go, where our bad actors are, and how we're going to go about addressing those issues that are plaguing areas of our community. We're going to partner with our federal, state, and local other agencies to identify those bad actors and get them off the streets. We're going to build those relationships even more with the prosecutor's office and the U.S. Attorney's office. In those cases that can be taken to the federal level, we will pursue all angles to make sure that happens. Our violent crime gun unit and enhanced investigations. We will increase those efforts to trace firearms and remove illegal guns from the circulation. And our detectives are going to work around the clock to make sure we're solving those crimes when they occur. Community engagement and public cooperation. I want to stress that we cannot do this alone. This is solely not a police matter. Everybody has a role in public safety. We need the eyes, ears, and support of the community. Our department has strengthened relationships and partnerships with local organizations, faith-based groups, and neighborhood leaders to encourage open dialogue and cooperation. If you see something, say something. We have anonymous tip lines through our app, various ways for people to make contact with us and tell us what's going on. We encourage you to share that information. We also encourage our residents and our business leaders, please become part of the Eyes on the Rock initiative with our Real-Time Crime Center. It is making a difference. Lastly, which I think is very, very important, because we've seen an uptick in youth violence, youth and prevention programs. We continue to push our youth programs, our Save Our Sons program, GEMS program, Explorers, cadet programs. But it's just as important that the community supports outreach programs and steers young people away from violence and crime. By working together with schools, community centers, and mentoring organizations, we can provide positive alternatives to gangs or illegal activity. Public safety, like I mentioned earlier, is a shared responsibility. We need the entire community, residents, businesses, faith-based leaders, and elected officials to stand with us. If you have information that can help prevent violent crime, we urge you to come forward. If you know someone on the wrong path, encourage them to seek help before it's too late. Your voice could save a life. We are committed to making our city safer. We will not rest until violence is brought under control. At this time, I want to say thank you Stay safe, and let's continue working together for a stronger and safer Little Rock. And I'll open the floor to a few questions at this time.
Park Plaza said that they are connected to your real-time crime centers.
Yes, sir.
Where people online were asking why it took so long to say this was a attempted robbery.
You know, just like anything else, we want to make sure we get all the information, allow the investigators to do their work. So we make sure we're putting the accurate information out there. You know as well as I do, anytime an incident occurs, so many people flood the news media room, they flood social media with all kinds of information out there. So for us as an agency, I think it's very important that we put the right message out at the right time to make sure the correct information is given to the local media outlets as well as on social media. So it's like trying to chase a boulder down a hill. When these incidents occur, we're chasing that boulder, trying to get in front of it, and it's sometimes difficult to do.
Could you talk to us a little bit more about your targeted enforcement areas? Does that mean we're going to see more enforcement at Park Plaza or where some of these homicides did occur?
So, you know, what we do is we're a data-driven agency. We have crime analysts that analyze our calls for services throughout the week, where violent crime is occurring based on trends. And then we work very closely with our detective division and our special investigations division to target those locations. And we rely on our community leaders as well to tell us what's going on in their neighborhoods, what they're seeing. And then we use our enforcement to engage in those activities to effectively and efficiently use resources to address crime that's affecting quality of life issues. I know everybody wants to make a big deal out of Park Plaza. Yes, it's a big mall, it's a big area. It's unfortunate it's had events that have taken place there, but the mall has protective measures that they have in place. It's just a very unfortunate that occurred at that location. We work very closely with Park Plaza. We are providing directed patrols up there now to do that, and we've been in meetings and discussions with them on how we can help them improve their methods and things that we can do to assist them and making our community feel safe going up there. The mall it drives a lot of people there. I mean, if you look at what occurred last year at the Super Bowl parade in Kansas City, 800 officers were at that location. Guess what? They had a gunfight that occurred. 800 officers were there. So it's hard to predict when these types of violent crimes occur. I wish I could sit here and tell you that when people decide to commit violent crimes, they call us and let us know it's going to happen, but they don't. It's just unfortunate. We try to put mechanisms in place and stop gaps in there, but unfortunately they do occur.
Where are they getting the guns, and are they too easy to get?
I wish I had the answer to that. Sometimes our community is a supplier of the guns because we lose a lot of guns that people leave in their cars with their vehicles unlocked.
Okay.
So that's a problem. There is an underground market where guns can be purchased. So that's a very tough measure. Homes get broken into. So we are a society that the Second Amendment is there. People have guns, and it's very difficult to stop that. You look at some of the cities around the country, New York, Chicago, that has some of the strictest gun laws in the nation. But these are also communities that have some of the highest homicide rates resulting from gun crime. So I don't know if there is a magic wand answer to fix that, because if there was, I probably wouldn't be working here today. I'd be selling it all over the country. I think it's where it's going to have to be more conversations from community standpoint. We're going to have to sit down and have those tough conversations, whether it's from the legislators, position, but people need to secure their guns.
Yes, ma'am.
Are there plans to add more homicide detectives in the near or long term?
As of right now, I think we're doing good. What we got, I have some vacancies in major crimes, and as we bring new personnel on, we start backfilling those. Not only them, but I'm going to end up adding some people to our community resource officers, which formerly COP. We're going to put some officers back in the neighborhood. We just recently did that with 12th Street. Here in a couple of weeks, we'll see some added to the Southwest Division as well as the Northwest Division. So as we get people on, we can start filling some of those positions. But unfortunately, as you run staff, you got to find out where your priorities are, and sometimes that does take away from other units. But our is.
You mentioned that there was an uptick in youth crime. So are there any plans to expand on any of the youth outreach programs that LRPD is doing?
First and foremost, LRPD does a phenomenal job with their youth programming with their sons and their GEMS program. The city of Little Rock in itself has a community programs division and an Office of Neighborhood Safety that spends about $5.5 million each year. Actually, this coming Tuesday, we have about $1 million in contracts that are going towards prevention, intervention, youth programming. Here's what I'll say. We need to have more youth in these programs. Because at the end of the day, we can draw a box of where the crime is in our city. And that box is in Southwest Little Rock, it's in the South End, It's in the Midtown area of 12th Street, and it's in the East End. And so we want to continue to flood the number of youths that are part of these organizations so we can keep our youth off the streets. That's the reason why we have our summer youth program. That's the reason why we invest so much. But we also have to increase the number that we have. That's the reason why the city has made a commitment in that $1 million standpoint, $5.5 million standpoint to get that done. Second, I do want to address, while we are short-staffed at the city of Little Rock, I do want to make certain that we understand that when I entered the office, we had about 120 vacancies. We're now down to 60. I don't care who the mayor is or who the chief of police is, because of the COPS program of the mid-1990s, we're going to have 35 police officers that retire no matter what. And so that's the reason why we have this continuous recruitment plan. That's the reason why we send $10,000 to anyone who graduates, so we can continue to move from that 60 to eventually get down to 35 or to 0. And so while we are short-staffed at that 60, but we've come a long way from having 120 vacancies. And that's because people have taken on to these sign-on bonuses. And if we need to increase it from 10,000 to 15,000, we will. But our chief hasn't shared that yet, because at the end of the day, this is a hard job. The men and women of Little Rock Police Department are putting their life on the line. And everybody's not signing up to do that. And so we want to encourage anyone who wants to become a police officer, please take a part in our recruitment plan process. We have a $10,000 sign-on bonus as well.
A lot of people tend to blame either you or the chief or some city officials for the crimes that happen within our community. What's your statement to those that feel like that they want to say it's the mayor's fault, or it's the chief's fault, or they're not doing this or they're not doing that?
Well, I'll say this, as the elected mayor of the city and as the appointed chief of police of the city, this is what we signed up for. We signed up for the credit, we signed up for the criticism. It's my job to make certain that every resident, whether they live in College Station or Chenal, feels safe and that they are safe. And so what we have to continue to address, the numbers show that crime is down, but we still have a feeling problem. We can't predict some of the crimes, as the chief shared, this has been an anomaly. But we will get it corrected, just like we were able to get it corrected last year and had 37 homicides, which, again, one homicide is one too many, but it was a 43% reduction. We had a basically 7% reduction in overall crime, 6% reduction in violent crime. Crime is down because our officers are doing a great job with 60 officers down. And again, when they were at 120, we're down at 60. And so they're doing a phenomenal job. The buck stops with me no matter what. And so people have concerns. They feel free to share with me as they do. And like I said, we sign up for the credit and for the criticism, and it's my job to make certain that every resident is safe. Thank you so much. Have a blessed day.